Hello and welcome to this tutorial presented by oraclecoach.com. This is Claire Rajan, and in this tutorial I will demonstrate how system privileges can be granted and revoked from a user. I'm going to launch SQL Developer. Currently I do not have any connections with the database. I'm going to create a new connection as the user system. The user system is a user account that has administrative privileges and has the privilege both to create a user as well as to grant and revoke system privileges. To create a new connection, I'm going to select the new connection button. It's asking me for the name of the connection. I'm going to give that as system. Username is system. The password, I'm going to supply the password of the system user, and I'm going to select the connect button. So the first connection has been created as the user system. I'm now going to create a new user account, and the name of the user is going to be Jack. The password for this user is Jack. The default table space will be users. The temporary table space will be temp, and I'm going to give a quota of 500 kilobytes on the user's table space. I'm now going to select the Run Statement button, and it tells me that the user has been created successfully. I'm now going to try to connect as this new user. Now before that, I'm going to just expand on a system, and I'm going to go down to the other users so that I can show you that the user Jack is now part of the database. I'm now going to clear my statement, and I'm going to try a connection as the user Jack. So I'm coming back to connections. I'm selecting the new connection button. The name of this connection is Jack. The username is Jack. Password Jack. I'm going to select the connect button. I get an error, and the error says that the user Jack lacks create session privilege. Now, even though the user has been created, the user has not been granted any system privileges which allow the user to perform actions within the database. And the first privilege that a user needs to be even be able to connect to the database is the create session system privilege. And I'm going to cancel this window, and I'm coming back as the system user, and I'm going to issue my first grant command where I'm going to grant the create session privilege to the user Jack. I'm selecting the run statement button. It tells me that the grant was successful, and I'm once again going to attempt to create the connection as the user Jack. The connection name was Jack, username Jack, password Jack, selecting the connect button. The connection has now happened, and here I have the tab with the name Jack. Connected as Jack, I'm now going to try to create a table. I'm going to create a simple table called T1 that has a single numeric column called A. Here I'm just trying to make things really simple so that we'll concentrate only on the fact that the user attempted to create a table, and when the user tried to do so, the user is getting an error, and the error is an insufficient privileges error. So at this time, the user has the ability to connect to the database but does not have the ability to create a table. So coming back as the user system, I'm going to change this grant command so that I say grant create table to Jack. I'm going to repeat the run statement, and it tells me that the grant has succeeded. I'm coming back as Jack, and I'm just going to try to execute the command again, and the create table was successful. So here we have the user Jack having both the create session and the create table system privileges. I'm going to return as the user system and show you that it is possible to grant more than one system privilege at a time, and you can do this by separating the system privileges by commas. So here I have grant create view, comma, create sequence to Jack. I'm going to select the run statement button, and it tells me that the grant was successful. Coming back as the user Jack, I want to now see what are all the system privileges currently active within my session. And to do this, I can issue a query against a data dictionary view called session_privs. And to do that, I'm going to write select star from session_privs And it tells me that I have four system privileges currently active for my session, which are create session, create table, create view, and create sequence. So any user can query session underscore privs to see the names of all the system privileges that are currently active in their session. I'm now going to return as the user system, and I'm going to remove one of the privileges that have been granted to the user Jack. Revoking a privilege or removing a privilege can be done using the revoke command, and the privilege that I want to revoke is the create table privilege, and the syntax is revoke create table from and the name of the user, which is Jack. I'm going to select the run statement button. It tells me that the revoke was successful. I'm coming back as the user Jack. I want to see all the privileges which are currently active. I'm going to select my run statement button again, and notice that this create table system privilege is no longer an active privilege, and the user does not have that privilege anymore, which means the user will no longer be able to create a table. I'm now going to come back as the user system. Now, as an administrator, it is quite difficult to remember the names of all these system privileges. And what Oracle has is a list of all the system privileges available within the database. And this can be queried by using a certain data dictionary view called system underscore privilege underscore map. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to describe system underscore privilege underscore map to see the name of the column that I need to query to be able to see the different system privileges available, and I'm going to query the column called name. So the select statement that I'm going to write is select name from system underscore privilege underscore map. I'm going to execute the statement, and what you will get is a list of all the system privileges which are currently available within the database. So if you are unsure about what the name of a system privilege is, it is possible for you to query this particular data dictionary view and have a look at all the available system privileges. For completeness, I'm now going to show you how to drop a user. We created the user Jack as part of this tutorial, and I'm going to drop the user in this tutorial. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to drop the user by using the SQL developer action menus. I'm going to close this query result as well as this statement output. I've come back to the user Jack, and I'm going to right click and select the option of drop user. Now it prompts me whether I'm sure I want to drop the user. I'm going to select the apply button, and I get an error that says cannot drop a user that is currently connected, which means that if I want this to happen, I need to disconnect the user Jack from the database. I'm going to close the tab associated with Jack, and it says, do you want to save the changes? I'm going to say no. I'm going to come back to the connection called Jack, and I'm going to right click and choose the option of delete. Are you sure you want to delete? And I'm going to select the yes button. I'm coming back to Jack so that I can once again attempt the drop command. I'm choosing the option of drop user, and I'm going to try to go ahead by selecting the apply button. I get an error once again, and it says that the cascade must be specified to drop the user Jack. Now, when we created Jack as part of this tutorial, we granted the user Jack the create table system privilege, and connected as Jack, we created a table called T1, which means that there is a table called T1 existing in the schema of the user Jack. And when a user has tables or objects in their schema and you wish to drop them, you have to specify the option of cascade. And here there is the checkbox associated with the word cascade. I'm going to select the checkbox, and I'm going to select the apply button, and this time the user was dropped successfully. In this tutorial, I showed you how to create a user as well as grant and revoke system privileges from the user. I also showed you how to query the system privilege map to see the names of all available system privileges within the database. We looked at a query against session privs, where a user can actually see the different session privileges available within their session, as well as I showed you how to drop a user account using the SQL developer action menus. I hope you find this tutorial useful. For a complete list of videos, tutorials, and articles, you can visit the Oracle Coach website. You can also subscribe to the Oracle Coach channel to stay tuned for our new upcoming videos. Thank you for your time and thank you for listening.